Welcome back to All That Jam, where music has no limits. We are with Nick MacDaniel today. He is lead vocalist and guitarist for the band Big Something. How we doing, Nick?
Good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's been a good 15 months, I guess, since we talked to you. It was February 2023.
Yeah,
And since then, you guys have had a lot going on, but I've wanted to jump in right away with Headspace. Seventh studio album. I feel like for a variety of reasons we can get into. You guys broke new ground with it. I think you as an artist, in your songwriting broke new ground with it. So you want to get into a little bit about the process of making that one?
sure. It's definitely my favorite album we've ever made. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of them was just the location. We did it at Pachyderm in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, right outside of Minneapolis, and it's kind of famous for recording a lot of like 90s rock albums. Like Nirvana recorded In Utero there, and it's just like a really beautiful kind of retreat style recording studio out in the wilderness. Like there's a trout stream in the backyard, and a really cool like vintage guest house that you can stay in. And we just kind of like secluded ourselves at this studio and recorded for 10 days, and we literally recorded as much music as humanly possible with the time we had. We didn't spend any time focusing on mixing it or arranging it. It was just like capture, capture, capture.
Mhm.
And then for what felt like forever after we got done, but it was really only like 5 or 6 months, we spent that time kind of like figuring out how we wanted to mix it, put it all together. And there's actually more material from that session that hasn't been released yet. But
The
um,
bootleg series, huh?
yeah, there's more coming, I think.
Right.
Um,
This
it
was
was supposed
this
to be
studio.
May. Yeah,
Right. This studio is also a place that who Steve Albini, who recently passed, PJ
hmm,
Harvey's album, I think he did with
yep,
her was done there also. That's
yeah.
fantastic. How did you come about that? Was that something that was like you saw in your future from the past, or did you just stumble into, hey, we get a chance to do this?
Um, we were kind of looking around for like a studio that would have a cool environment like that, like a cool atmosphere, a cool vibe. And our manager
The
Mike,
pictures are beautiful. You go to the
it's
website, the pictures of it are
yeah, it's super cool. And the cool thing was it wasn't like super expensive. It was actually relatively reasonable for everything. And so our manager Mike helped us find it. They actually are like affiliated with the other two Electric Lady studios in LA and New York. And then they have this one spot just randomly in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota. And they've got like one of the only Neve consoles in the world. A lot of really cool vintage gear. The guy that helped engineer it that works there was super cool. It was just a great experience.
There's something to be said for the physically being there doing it as opposed to sitting on your computer in Ableton or something or Pro
Right.
Tools trying to do it. And there's a warmth to this recording, I feel like.
I think another big thing that made it really fun and special was having our longtime producer John Kuster there. He's produced all of our albums. He helped name the band, and we released our first album that he produced under the name Big Something, and that's kind of how it all started. But having him drive up there from North Carolina and spend the whole time with us, was also something that made it really special.
Now let's get into the songwriting a little bit. Your good friend Paul had passed, and I know that he was a big part of your songwriting. You guys were, brothers in arms, so to speak, doing that. And then in 2019, you did Escape. Some of his stuff was still around. I'm guessing this time none of the lyrics are from Paul.
So there's one line, coming up the mountain, I can see it all again, and it's the first song on the album. And I had always wanted to do something with that line, and then a piece of music kind of started floating around that felt like a good fit for it, and then ended up working with another really great songwriter, Justin from Susto, and he kind of helped finish it. So it was really cool, like going from an old idea from Paul's notes to like kind of a new friend, and in a way, it felt very similar to working with Paul. The way it all
Nice.
came together. I feel like his spirit was still kind of involved, and that is the first track on the album. So that's kind of what starts the whole thing. And then from there, there's a lot of other collaborators that we worked with. Andy Frasco, our good friend Josh Phillips from Asheville, has a couple songs on the album. And, it was just the whole very collaborative process. Even our producer, John Kuster, was involved a lot in the writing. And, it's fun when it's collaborative like that.
You eased into it. It seems like you really settled into doing things, I guess, a little bit different.
Yeah. And just kind of like learning how to grow as a songwriter, as a human being,
Right.
kind of opening up to new possibilities and being open to.
Right. Would you say that the lyrics are more introspective on this one?
I think, yeah, given the nature of the subject matter, and with it being kind of like that underarching theme of mental health, with the album title itself, I would say there's definitely like kind of like an internal space that's being thought of a lot on this one.
Right. Now, how did Age Daydream tie into that theme as the sole cover on the album?
We've never released a cover on a studio album, and we've always kind of toyed around with that idea. We like taking influences and artists that really inspire us and kind of putting our own spin on it and doing it in our own way while still trying to like honor the original.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like the thought there was, David Bowie is like kind of like an enigma of an artist. Like he was his own thing.
Mhm.
And we really respect and appreciate that and his music, and it's something that the six of us can all agree on was like a common artist that we all liked. um and just with like the kind of like introspective, like outer space love song vibe happening with the lyrics and stuff, it just seemed like it fit well with the rest of the aesthetic of our our
Right.
original stuff on the album. So just was
Right.
kind of like a something fun and new to try, but still kind of trying to keep it all in that theme.
Right. That whole album, Bowie had a moment. 5 years to this
Yeah.
day, you'll still bring a tear to my eye.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It's it's incredible.
So, when the new album, what are the hits? What are the bangers? What is everyone going wild for?
um Man, I like a lot of the tracks on this album. Josh Phillips's two songs, Bob and Weave and Starts to Rain, are both really fun to play live. Evil Josh always gets pretty rowdy. Um, we re-recorded the first Big Something song ever written, Amanda Lynn, and
Mhm.
and that's always a fun one to play live. You know,
That is your big hit. That's the one people, people know that one. Outside of, you can know a band and you know about their music, and then you can casually know something and be like, "Oh, I know that song." I
yeah.
think that's your one. Why
Well,
did you choose that? Why did you choose to re-record that?
it's interesting how that always happens. Is like we almost have like no control over it, or no say over what becomes the one that people latch on to the most. But I'm proud of all of them. I
Right.
They're all kind of like children to us. We
I've always likened that, you write a poem, you put it out in the world, it's like throwing your kid out to get beat up.
yeah, right, exactly.
You just hope it comes back. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Uh,
fantastic. So let's talk about the This album had everybody who was originally in the band on it.
That can also kind of go tie into the question you asked before too about Amanda Lynn.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of a full circle moment for the band. It's the last full length studio album with the original lineup, with all six of us. Doug, our bass player, recently retired from touring. He had just turned 50, so he was ready to
Mhm.
to stay a little more close to home on a regular basis. And Josh, our keys and trumpet player, it's kind of like our secret weapon, you know, was really like one of the more unique parts of the band, with like his soundscapes and the way that he approached playing keys. Also, you know, has a family going now, and felt it was time to retire from the road. So both of those were very difficult, but ended up
Well, let's
being
talk,
like,
let's talk about Matt first. You got Matt Laird. He was, I think that he came up the last time we talked. That you
mhm.
guys were already, you knew it was coming. So, how has that worked out? I mean, listening to it now, it feels like he's always been there. I think he's totally absorbed what you guys are doing and found
Yeah,
his voice within that.
yeah, 100%. I would agree. I was gonna say, like, it was very hard, but it also like was the right thing at the right time, and there was no bad blood or any animosity whatsoever. It was all a complete, like, total group family, everybody's on the same page type thing, and it's evolved and morphed into this new thing with a lot of new energy coming from Matt and Ross and Julian on the keys.
Hmm.
But Matt in particular just came in and was like, you know, like you said, it's like he's always been there. We started playing 2 or 3 months into doing shows with him, and I was forgetting that there was even a new bass player back there. Like, because I think he's done a really good job of like honoring the parts that were already there, but also like kind of being himself, and that's what
Right.
we wanted all along. And he's been really fun to like improvise with. That's one thing I think he's helped open up a lot of new doors with the live show, is we're really able to kind of let him steer the ship in the improv, and he takes it to some really cool places. So that's been awesome.
Yeah. So why two keyboardists? What's going on with that?
So we have Ross from Doom Flamingo and Julian from the Mantras kind of
Hmm.
splitting things right now, and it's been great. It's honestly been really cool how like it's made it like kind of like a team effort, and the two of them have been really awesome about working together. Josh, our old keyboard player, has worked with both of them, and we're really just trying to retain like as much of the original sound while also taking it into new territory as possible, while also working with everybody's schedule. Like, it wouldn't really be possible for us to do a full-time tour, full thing, and also work with everybody's schedule. So it's like there's scheduling that we're all navigating together. And of course, we love Doom Flamingo and respect the hell out of that project. And like they're so awesome. So like when Ross has shows with them, like it's something where we also have Julian
Hmm.
who can step in and crush it. It's actually been a really cool situation so far. Like there's been nothing negative about it so far. So it's been
Now,
working. Hopefully we'll continue to work, you know, as long as we need it to.
right. I was going to say, did this affect your set list choices? Did you have to pare down your pool of songs, or on the other side of that, because you have the new album, has some stuff disappeared that was older?
Um, so I think the New Year's run that we just did was the first time that Matt has played through like almost the entire catalog. Um, and
That's
as
great.
yeah, which was great. And there's a lot of the old songs that we have like started playing again that we're like, oh yeah, this is a cool one. We should bring this back. And so we'll continue to do that as we go. But yeah, there's like a chunk of material that the new keyboard players know, and we're always like trying to grow it 1 or 2 songs at a time.
Mhm.
One thing that has happened though is we've been opening up new like open improv spaces in songs that haven't always been there, and like our set lists are now fewer songs because we are improvising longer. So we are really taking stuff out way further, way into more like type 2 style jamming than we ever have before. So that has also been a really nice like kind of breath of fresh air for all of
That
us, I
feels
feel like.
good, huh?
Yeah.
Feels good to make that breakthrough kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I hear you. I hear you. I love that. Let me ask you about this Cloud song because I spaced when we were in the middle of talking about the album. That's the tune with Andy, right?
Yeah.
And also, there's 2 versions of it on the album.
Yeah. Yeah, Cloud's 2 ways. We wanted to get a little fine dining on you. um
Love it.
so we thought it was cool like to present the song in 2 different ways, and both of those collaborators, Andy and Justin, helped write that song. It started as an idea with Andy, and then Justin came in and helped finish it. So it was cool to kind of feature both of them in a way, but also do it with different styles. So like with Andy, it's a little bit more of like the original kind of more up tempo, more rock and funk music, and then with Justin, it's a little bit more like what it sounded like when we were just hanging out in a cabin writing the song on an acoustic guitar. I think if you go back and listen
Right.
to the
Does it show up
demos,
live?
it does. Yeah, we've played it with Justin several times now, but it is rare. But yeah, it does come out every once in a while.
Nice.
The normal version that Andy's on, we play live all the time, and that one's
Right.
really fun. Yeah.
All right. So you said you'd been on the road, what, 8 weeks? And what, you have today off, and then tomorrow you're going to be in Beaufort Music Festival, Beaufort. I don't know how to say that.
Beaufort.
Beaufort.
Yeah, North Carolina, and then I think it's Beaufort, South Carolina. I always get a little confused too.
I love it.
Sometimes people show up at the wrong place too, so that's it's North Carolina.
Make a wrong turn.
Yeah, but we just did 62 shows in 30 states, starting from December till now. So yeah, we had a couple little small breaks in there, but it was pretty intense. I think it was the biggest and longest tour we've ever done. And yeah, we are diving right back into festival season starting tomorrow. So
Right. Now, do you think that has made you guys, you had mentioned the Type 2 opening up. Do you think all those shows in that amount of time has helped foster that?
Oh, 100%. Playing a show and especially getting in a momentum like that where you're playing every night for like 5 nights in a row each week, it's kind of like a muscle that you're building. And each show you get a little bit more confident, you get a little bit more like in tune with everything that's happening. And by the end of it, it felt like we were really firing on all cylinders, like listening to each other and like kind of able to flex muscles that we haven't been able to before.
Right.
So
I always say 93, 94 were Fish's best years because they played 130 shows in a year. I mean, that's
yeah,
all they did. The music was in dripping from them, you know,
yeah, yeah.
at that
It kind
point.
of becomes like second nature in a way.
It does. It does. All right. So then the weekend, you got a bunch of festivals coming up. So I guess this is festival season. Is that what you're looking to do for most of the summer instead of having to hit the road again, so to speak?
Yeah, I think we're going to play a lot of really cool festivals. There are some shows that we haven't announced yet that will be getting announced soon. We throw our
Because
own
you're playing the festivals, you can't announce the shows.
Also having to like find places to play that we haven't just played too. Like that, we just played so many of the places that we would normally spread out over a longer span of time. So like now we're like trying to think, okay, well, what can we do now that won't overlap with what we just did? But there's some cool like beach towns that we're getting ready to announce. We're doing our own festival, the Big What, which is quite a labor of love, but always a really good time.
Yeah, why don't we throw that out? Because the thing after I want to talk to you about too. But that big what? Who are some of the names we're seeing on that, and where can people get tickets? Can they get tickets yet?
Oh yeah, yep. Tickets are on sale now and doing great. The first wave of support's been awesome. We're really excited. I think it's going to be a great way to celebrate the 10th year of it. We'll have Andy Frasco there. He's doing a super jam plus hosting his podcast. We'll have Doom Flamingo there. And we'll be collaborating with Kanika, I'm sure. Mark from the Disco Biscuits is coming and doing a brownie and something set, which is going to be Mark and his son on bass and drums, Casey and I, and then I think we're going to have Natalie Brooke on keys and Isaac Haddon on guitar, two up and coming young musicians.
Yeah, I love Natalie. We've spoken to her a few times, and we've talked to Isaac too. But Natalie's a local girl. I live in Baltimore.
Awesome.
So
yeah,
Infinity Tribe. Have you heard the Infinity Tribe? That band she has with Gator from Pigeons. That's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, they're sick.
Yeah,
she's awesome. So, and we have her coming as an artist at large. We also have Isaac coming. Some other ones that I'm really excited about are Elephant Proof.
Okay. With Ben.
With Ben,
formerly of Goose.
And Chalk Dinosaur, Shadowgrass. There's Late Night Radio. Got some good like dance music coming. I think it's gonna be really fun.
I love your lineup. I mean, I really. Who were you part of that? Who picked the lineup? Did you guys have a pool of names and you were like, let's see who we can get, or how did that work?
There were a lot of people that we checked on too that like couldn't do it or didn't make sense. But we are all kind of involved. The band members helped look at it, and then our team, like our manager Mike and booking agent Jason, they're heavily involved with it too. So it's a big group effort. But it's also something we kind of like look at in terms of how the music flows from point A to point B. And like there's a very intentional process to it's almost like DJing or making a playlist in a way, like kind of the way it all flows together. And something we always try and do is find bands or artists that we think are gonna be big one day but haven't quite hit that yet. I think our claim to fame is we booked Wolfpack to play their first festival back in 2016 or something like that, right before they went crazy. Yeah. So that was really cool. And I feel like that about several of the bands that are on there this year. I feel like Chalk Dinosaur is probably gonna
fantastic. Yeah.
We
spoke to
Shadowgrass is blowing up. So yeah.
We spoke to John yesterday, actually.
Oh, awesome.
From Chalk Dinosaur. He's
awesome.
I love what they're doing. It's so jazzy, so nice.
Yeah.
It's got a great thing. So then you got like a few days off and you go to the cave. You want to talk a little bit about I love the cave. I so want to go there, even though I'm a little claustrophobic. I heard that it's roomy enough that you don't totally get.
So there's two caves, and this is the one that's in Illinois, I believe.
Okay.
It
isn't that place underground?
It's not the one in Tennessee.
Okay.
There's the caverns in Tennessee, and then there's the Shawnee Cave Amphitheater in Illinois.
Okay. So it's above ground?
I think it's below ground. I'm honestly not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure there's a stage below ground.
I'm just showing up.
But it does look like a really cool event. I think the Disco Biscuits are at that one, and it's our first time there, so I'm not really sure what to expect, but it looks like a good time.
Right. And the last thing I want to throw out at you, it's October way off, Ramblefest, which is something in Maryland. I don't know how many people know about it, but I think that it's been gaining momentum, getting itself a name a little bit.
For sure. We love that one. That one is very much in the same like mold of the Big What, where it's like a couple guys, Brick and Jason, who are doing it out of like a very sincere, pure place. You know, that's like their love for music and community are what is driving the event. It's not like a big corporate thing or just like all straight business. You know, it's a very like grassroots, community based festival, and those are the best kind. So like we love that one. I think we played the first year, and we're excited now to come back. This is the third or fourth year, I think. So
Yeah.
we're stoked.
It's a tough game, the festival game. You hear about festivals. Something in Philly canceled the other day that was going to have Wiz Khalifa and a bunch of other people. Totally wiped their Instagram and Twitter feeds. I mean, Skull and Roses got canceled earlier this year. That guy just was like, can't do it. Sorry.
It is extremely tough. I think it's tough for just people in general right now to decide what they want to go to.
What are you going to spend $200 on, right?
Right.
And take a weekend off to have to go somewhere, right?
It costs more to throw the festivals too. And so like finding that balance is definitely really tricky. But
you guys have figured it out. 10th year. You guys, you had to skip 2020, or did you skip 2020 and 2021?
We skipped 2020, 2021, and 2023. So it's tough sledding, man. It's a whole lot of work and a whole lot of risk, and you know, hopefully, you know, the good ones will still survive, but I understand completely why we're seeing a lot of them kind of fall apart right now. It's tough out there.
Yeah, and you know, so I wouldn't say fly by night, but some of them are fly by night.
Yeah, and then you really find out like the shady ones that, like, you know, just disappear, wipe their socials, and
Snidely Whiplash. He's running down the railroad tracks with the money.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's crazy. I think we're in a good spot, and
we're going to put all the links. We're going to throw all the links down in the show.
There you go. So that would help for sure.
Right, so people can do that. Anything else you want to throw out? Are you guys going to be looking to the studio again? You picked your guitar and your pen back up since the new album came out?
Yeah, there's a lot of writing happening right now. I mean, we haven't put out anything yet with Matt on it yet. So that is definitely something we really want to do, is get some music with Matt released. There's a lot of ideas swirling around right now that I think are going to be really cool, both in terms of like new music, a new live album, some like acoustic music. There's a lot of different things kind of floating around that we're getting ready to dive into. So I'm excited.
So what you're going to do if you're watching this, you're going to go follow their socials, and you'll be up to date with everything. What can I say, Nick? Thank you.
My man. Yeah, dude, thank you. Thank you for doing what you do, man. This helps a lot. Stuff like this helps us a lot. So we appreciate what you do as well. It's all labor of love.
Yeah, everybody watching, make sure you like, subscribe. If you're watching this later, leave a comment. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.